What's up, guys? Welcome back to H Akademy TV, where we are on episode 5, where today we are going to be sharing with you the power of branding. And until my left here, over to my left, sorry, we've got Mr. Steve Gwilt, multi-award winning branding creative director. And on the right, we have got the girl you've already met before, Miss Harriet, international speaker, business coach, and a mentor. And just before we roll into this, we're going to be sharing with you today the importance of branding. And I tell you guys to listen up, because without this, in business, there's so much competition out there. You need to implement this strategy into your business, into your personal life, into your personal branding, and it's going to take things through the roof for you. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and begin. The timer starting now. So just over to the guy himself, the king of branding for the H Academy, for everything that you see above us, all our branding, it has all been down to this guy. And Steve, what is it that you can tell these people why branding is so important, like, you know, why branding is needed for people's businesses or for their personal branding?
So the thing that I've seen over the years is that, like, all of the big brands, all the big businesses out there have spent that time. They've focused on their branding, they've focused on their image, because when you do put that focus in, you're immediately stepping ahead of the majority of the people out there, the majority of the businesses, because like most smaller business owners tend to think like, I'll leave my branding till later, you know, I'll wait until later to do that creativity. But for most of them, that time just never comes around. And so what we did, I mean, I've been working with Eric Ho for the last 8 years, and the thing that we did was, from day one, we kind of looked at the big brands that were on the market. We looked at the likes of our biggest competitors. We looked at McDonald's, Subway, and so forth. And we modeled what they were doing. We was really kind of learning from the skills and the techniques that they were using. And we did that from day one, to the point that, like, people were coming into that noodle bar and thinking, this is a big brand, this is a big business. And when you do that, you know, you're just ahead of so many other businesses that are out there, you know. Nice.
And I think with what Steve's basically saying there is that you need to set yourself apart from the competition, right? Yeah. Is that, like, there's so many people in business nowadays, different branding, different logos, but if you can have that established branding, and that's why that we know whenever we attend our events, you guys can say, people always say, I love your colors, I love the hoodies that you guys wear as a team. Our branding is always, like, you know, on point, and everything is consistent. And I think maybe that's something that you can touch on in just a second, is why your branding needs to be consistent. That if you're all over the show with your colors and you don't have a specific theme, it's going to be very hard for people to remember you. And just moving over to Harriet here as well.
I'm happy to touch on that consistency a little bit, if you like, because actually something that that's something that Steve's really shown me, especially recently. Steve alluded to people that start off small and they don't put their focus into that branding, and that was absolutely me. I really didn't understand the power of branding. I didn't know that by having a particular color theme or having one particular logo that you use consistently again and again and again, how powerful that becomes to the public and to your potential clients, customers, whatever it might be. So I urge you to, if you're in business, no matter how big or how small, find out exactly how you can brand yourself, and then provide that consistently every single day. And with time, then you start to really stand out. All of you know, you just need to see golden arches. You know it's McDonald's. Apple, you know that it's Apple and Steve Jobs, and what you're going to get from that. You know it'll be that high quality, that standard. You don't even need to see an advert. You already know how high quality that brand is because of how consistent they have been to their branding. So I really urge everybody, don't make the same mistake I did. Reach out to this guy. He's absolutely incredible and knows what he's talking about, and then implement that. I've only started doing it very, very recently, but even already people are starting to follow my unleash the warrior within theme, and it's starting to become recognized. And I've actually received a few messages of people asking me questions since really taking Steve's advice and implementing it.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna ask you a question on that, because since the length of time that I've known you and that you've collaborated with Steve and been getting some advice from Steve with your branding, what has that clarity done for you, your coach? Like, I know you run a mentees group where it's like Unleash the Warrior Within. That's your brand. What has that done for you? The power of you knowing your true brand. Like, how does that make you feel so that you can deliver to your clients?
Well, first and foremost, the conversations that I've had with Steve have allowed me to feel truly confident in what it was that I was doing, and receive that reassurance that there really is a market out there for exactly what I want to do. But then more than that, we took it a step further to see, well, who do you want to work with? How can you help people? Because I think in one of our other episodes around marketing, we spoke about, there's a lot of people in the world, a lot of people on Facebook, over 7 billion people in the world, and you can't help everybody. So by getting that clarity on who I wanted to work with and how I branded myself so that I stood out to that type of person has really given me confidence to push forward with my business. Already arranged another event totally in line with Unleash the Warrior Within. Please comment below if you'd like more information. It's just allowed me to have complete confidence, total clarity, and become a much more profitable and successful business as I move forward.
That's really incredible to hear, because
thank you, Steve.
Whenever you get that clarity, on that, it's like then what it is that you believe in, where you're going, and then obviously through your branding you can attract the right clients and stuff. And just to throw a question back over to you, Steve, from all the credits that you've had over your journey of branding and design, and all the multi-award winning awards that you've accumulated, what's one of the biggest things that you would advise people to implement in order to stand out and to be that difference? Like, how do you get there? And how does your success, how can you share that on to other people as to how they create that for themselves?
I think one of the biggest things, as we've already touched upon, is that consistency. And if, for example, if you think of O2, what big brands do, like O2, they take ownership of an image. And with O2 they have the water bubble, and that's one of my favorite examples. And whenever you see like a bubble of water, which is supposed to represent egg, the water bubble represents the oxygen, the sharing talking and stuff. But in everything that they do, they always have that little subtle element, and they always use the same typography. And it's so, every time you see that kind of thing, you think of O2. And one thing I think you could take away immediately and start applying in whatever it is that you're doing is to actually really take ownership of something and consistently do it. So if you're doing those Facebook posts, if you're doing a brochure, if you're doing a website, you want to have some form of consistency that runs through everything that you're doing. So for O2, you go on their website, you'll see that water bubble. You go on there, you look at their brochures, their mobile app. It's that level of consistency that most people overlook, actually, but it's just so simple to kind of do. But there's so many different elements. I come from the restaurant background with working with Eric for so long, and there were so many elements that you can consider, it might be the phrases, the customer service, the packaging, the light boards and stuff. But I think it's really down to just kind of picking that theme, knowing your color schemes, making sure your logo appears everywhere, and that's just the way to begin. And I think the quality of your results is always going to be equal to the quality of that inspiration and your application of that. So yeah, and for us, when we put that focus into the brand, what is that Brands attract investors, and investment grows businesses.
Nice.
Nice,
And
Steve.
yeah, that's really powerful. Although we experience this all the time, just hearing this from you now as well, it makes so much more sense as to what it is that we do every single day and why we keep it like that. And I think one thing to note here is that, like, whenever it comes to branding, what I've heard from Steve is that it doesn't need to be crazy fancy. It doesn't need to be crazy, like, you know, flashy out there. It just needs to be something simple, consistent. Get clear on your color scheme. I mean, if you've seen us in H Academy and like yellow hoodies one day and then red hoodies the next day, that just doesn't really show any that just doesn't really show any clarity on what the company and what this organization stands for, the color scheme. But people know when they see these colors, like, you know, we stand out like a sore thumb. And that's what you want to do for your customers, is to have that remembering logo or that remembering title or that catchphrase where leaders are born, as you can see above. But I think that's what it's basically down about. And I think just for today, we are coming out of time. We are running out of time. And I just want to take a massive...
There you go.
I just definitely out of time. I just want to take... Oh my God. I just want to take this opportunity to thank Steve for coming on and sharing that information with you, and alongside the crazy amazing warrior Harriet, for sharing that information with you guys. And for those of you who are starting out, don't get like too caught up in it, because it took us a while to find the color scheme and the way that we go, but your branding will come matching you as well. So if you have any more questions or you'd like any more information or advice from any of these guys, do comment below. I will put their handles below to connect with them on Facebook.
Here to serve.
You can reach out and connect with them at any time. And of course, if you want to speak to moi, you can do as well. I will put my handle down there too.
Yeah, good.
Guys, we look forward to seeing you again for episode 6, which will be on Saturday coming. It's been a pleasure jumping on here, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon. Ciao for now.